Hello everyone. Today I'm checking out the new library in Fort Presidium in Requiem. Let's see what happens. What's that? Oh, Mackey Madison. That's a staff character. There's a crowd already. Lots of bookie people. Boat saw me. Who's this? Ara? I'm not sure who Ara is. Okay, so the strange part is in-game time says it's noon, but it's really super dark right now because the server graphics have been changed to be dark all day, every day. So nights will be pitch black and daytime will be dim. I don't know if it's seasonal or meant to be part of the setting in this case. But it makes me feel like I have to look around, keep a sharp eye out. It's a nice library, it's just that lots of people have been sitting around outside like we're trying to get tickets to the cinema. Jimmy Dobby just remind me like a sunburned Harry Potter. What happened? Apparently Mackey Madison was thrown out of the library for something? For some really poor behavior? Came back. I think I think he was part of the church order previously. Now he's working for the D Rabbins. Almost everyone's around. Looks like Niam is wearing a hoodie or something. So Mackie Madison claims he lost the key, not actually kicked out. Like, I'm not the sort of person to argue what happened. Police Police is making jokes herself. Jemmy Dore is trying to review the books. Parrish is here. A bunch of other people are as well. Still waiting. It's like we're getting trying to get tickets to a new movie. Lucian, Purple Crest still. It was a joke from Moat's part to make a losing bet dye their hair purple. Then she decided to dye her hair purple too, as sort of a consolation prize. Your Hanlon is dressed up quite warmly. The sounds of frantic men working the shell books can be heard. Will open soon. In-game broadcasts now appear on the scroll tooltip so that it doesn't get lost in the chatter. Must be an enthusiastic reader. Ara was so interested in getting in there. I don't think comic books are a thing in Requiem. No, right? Not even light novels. Despite Genshin taking place in a medieval world and having light novel references, I don't recall the Requiem staff being particularly geeky over Japanese pop culture. They are more into Western pop culture, like ordinary fanfic. So, yes, I think Richard Luskin is making a joke about shopping mall. A sham shop. Hmm. Maud said to Viola that Rikard Luskin was known as the pirate preacher, which means that he would have been sailing the seas for quite a while before he arrived. It's well, Viola supposedly spent a few days down in the Ratland, so she would have probably not known the details of the mice conspiracy beyond them all chasing after her. Atticus Black is so curious about the huge crowd. Let's not all rush in at once. Oh, she runs smack into Atticus Black. Lots and lots of books. I don't think I can joke about light novels being a thing. So many people chasing after books or just new stuff. The Reeve was supposed to make a speech, but I suppose he was held up. Viola hasn't seen the Reeve. Replay with a mouse? No. think Lucian's just making a rude joke at his expense. Let's get in. I wanna see what the library's like. That's a big place. Arts and craft book. Wait, I think I have to disable function. Double click to loot items inside containers, otherwise I'll never be able to read the things. It seems actually these books are leading to the Out Again wiki pages. Yeah. Unbridled Ruin. Well, the fictional story details an affair of a prominent prelacy lady and a young stable boy. Steamy words detail the slow giving away better judgment to a death of lust and lies. Dorothy approached the stable boy, his muscled chest exposed to the flame's light. He glinted off of it, beads of sweat tracing down his toned form like the tears of the angels. He was stuck in that awkward age, upon the cusp of manhood, where the body has matured but the mind still lags behind, unknowing of the troubles of the world. There was something charming about Theodore's naivete, a vulnerability Dorothy found most appealing. Like a wild Mustang, he still bucked against a vast tide of life, trying to find it with a place for himself. He feared for the day he would be broken. Theodore looked to her, pulling the rug from his leather trousers that cut the curvature of his rear tightly, and patted his brow. He smiled in his usual half-reasoned way. "Well, ain't that a sight?" he said to her, still wiping at his brow. "Something catch your interest," Dorothy replied, a curt smile sprouting upon her own luscious lips. "Oh, it's caught more than my interest, miss," Theodore said. He moved toward the wooden fence that divided them, and placed his elbow upon it. Dorothy laughed. It was a soft thing, like the petals of a rose falling gently to the ground, tugged to and fro by a gentle autumn breeze. She moved her gloved hand to hide her smile. She could feel the heat in her cheeks as they became flushed. Another more base heat lingering elsewhere. "Come to take a ride?" Theodore asked, brows raised, cool blue eyes moving over her. Dorothy's eyes widened in shock, a gasp taken in and held. She could feel her heart flutter now, feel the pulse of her heart as her lifeblood churned through her eagerly. Most eagerly, Theodore laughed, a guilty thing that fit his rugged demeanor. "The horses, miss," he said, amused. "Oh," Dorothy replied immediately, senses flowing back to her. "Why, yes. Wait, no, actually, I simply wish to come and get an update on the health of the mare." Theodore turned to look back towards the stables, strong neck arching back. He spit to one side before looking back, rag moving down his chest to lap at his hairy, muscled chest. "Recovering well, as best as could be expected, I reckon," he said. "Childbirth is a beautiful thing, a miracle from start to finish." The book ends with the discovery of the affair. Theodore is hung upon the gallows. Upon discovering the news, Dorothy hangs herself from her bedsheet within her manor. Interclass romance was not. not allowed in the past. There's so many books, I'm not sure I can check them all. In Death Do We Part by Nina Nash. This book tells the story of a wealthy widower named Fandrina Smith, who is bereft after the passing of his late wife, Ursula. Unable to cope with her death, he spirits her away from the grave to eternally rest within their bedchamber. Still together again, he longs for their parting as peculiar illusions haunt him throughout every night. If these events truly transpire or are the delusions of madman is left open-ended. Some of these books don't actually have. Apple Tree Widow by Randy McMaster. Foreword. This book was originally published on Late Flower Bloom in 1314 as 2 volumes. I've read the master copy of the original. The pages were of fine parchment, the spine is red deer leather, a brilliant piece of art. A very dark and depressing fantastic story. The main characters of the story are the widow, the merchant, and the boy. Reader can easily find the traces of principles of love and truth in the story. Love as in the pure feelings of merchant against the widow, and the widow's deep longing and desire to his lost child. It's under the principle of truth. The reader can see that nothing is as it seems, and nothing is totally different than it seems to be. The beauty of a woman is somehow far more beyond than a tinker's gift. It is dark yet charming, but the evil is masked behind the shield of innocent beauty. Or is it not? Is the widow truly evil in heart, or does she feel the evil more than we could ever understand for what she's lost? Though I should say that the virtue of compassion can hardly be found within the story, but in my humble opinion it should have been. I can even understand and feel the compassion of the merchant, even though it's not in the book. The compassion against a widow who is drowned in deep sorrow. The justice, on the other hand, seems to be fulfilled. It's a sad thing the widow endured, but nothing seems to be a good reason for slaughter of the infant. But who are we to decide that? I finished my critique on McMaster's Apple Tree Widow by saying it is a touching story. It can easily be transformed into a stage play in the hands of a master author, a bard or a minstrel. I congratulate Randy McMaster for his thought-provoking work. Okay, yeah. Apple Tree Widow. This story tells about a widow who lived in a beautiful house, nearly as beautiful as its lovely owner. Behind the house there was an apple tree that was rumored to be the source of the widow's beauty, thus her nickname, Apple Tree Widow. Our story begins as a lone merchant arrives to the house of the Apple Tree Widow, the house that resides in the edge of a small town far away from the sounds of civilization. The widow opens her door to the merchant, who politely greets her and introduces himself. He's called inside and offered delicious apple pie, and conversation that centers around the widow's late husband who died at sea. The merchant feels sorry for the widow and offers her sympathies. He begins to like the widow and is quite charmed about her beauty. She introduces her son to the merchant, but the child won't reply, just stares at the merchant with his wide eyes. The widow explains that he has been like that since his father passed away. The only one he talks to is his dog the sailor brought home as a gift to his family. The merchant feels very moved about it and promises the widow that he will return one day if the apples sell well. That indeed happened. When people heard stories about the apples, and they were practically eaten right off from the merchant's hand, he found himself to be very rich and famous all thanks to the apples. A year passed, and the merchant arrived at the widow's house once again as promised. He felt warm inside as he saw the house, just as it was when he had left a year ago. When he opened the door, the widow threw herself into his arms and told how she had missed him all year long. The lone salesman found himself to be in love with the woman, hugged her, and gave her a little kiss. She took him inside, gave him some apple pie to eat that was just as delicious as the last time. The merchant smiled and greeted her son too, though he noticed something was a bit off with him. It looked like the child hadn't grown up at all since last year, although he's in the age where kids grow up like weeds. He shrugged off his thoughts, however, thinking it was just his imagination. He conversed with the widow, a small chit-chat about general things just like the last time. The conversation was cut off short, however, as a dog brought in a small bone and dropped it just by the merchant's feet. He laughed a bit at this, but soon noticed the faces of the widows and the son. Both were in shock, staring at the bone like it was the death himself. Soon, the widow excused herself from the table, grabbed the bone, scolded the dog, and hurried outside. Once the widow had left the house, the boy suddenly started to talk. He told the man that the widow had lost her son years ago. She had never gotten over it, and to fill the void, she had been kidnapping children from nearby towns and raising them as her own. She required them to be just like her son. But eventually all the children had failed her expectations and gotten killed by the widow. She had them buried by the apple tree, and the bone that the dog had brought in belonged to the boy the merchant had met a year before. He too had failed and was now buried by the tree. The merchant was shocked by this. Could the lovely widow he had fell in love with really be a child killer? He couldn't believe it at first, but when he looked into the boy's eyes, he knew the child was speaking the truth. He grabbed the boy and headed outside. From the corner of his eye, he saw the widow digging the apple tree, and on the moonlit soil built a small skull. The merchant and the boy ran to the nearest town where they gathered a group of able men, some of them who had lost their sons to the widow. They ran to her house where they found the widow and the apple tree. The apple tree had died, its leaves withered away, and the apples lay rotten on the ground. Below its branch hung the lifeless widow with a rope around her neck. So that means she wanted to change her ways, but or she felt that she was such an awful mother that she killed herself. Oh dear. Feel kind of bad for everyone in that story. Till Sea Swallows All by Sean Gill. This book tells the story of a captain who vows to avenge his crew after a titanic sea serpent savages his vessel. Adrift upon the ocean, he comes upon various ships and castaways which challenge his ambition. In the end, his drive gets the best of him as the captain lures a ship of colonists destined towards Ankara to be his bait. The captain finds he has become the monster. There isn't actually anything written in here. Mind Games by Pearl Adams. This work of fiction tells the story of an apothecary from the 701st Apothecary Corps. It's adept with an experimental new technology that allows him to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to learn the whereabouts of his last victim. Through the dark and twisted mental landscape, the apothecary fights with the unraveling of his patient's mind as well as his own when parallels in personality are found. Though the apothecary successfully locates the victim, he finds himself trapped within the killer's body as the killer flees into his own. The mystery is solved but the murderer gets a new lease of life. A Life in Darkness by Emerson Paul. I've often wondered why the light of the flame in the sky instills in us so much joy. Its radiance as it falls upon Eden breathes life into our surroundings. The sky is blue, fields are green, and wildflowers of all colors splash across meadows, bringing delight to our souls. And with the light's warmth springs up in our hearts a desire to dance, to run, to sing, a happy lightness of thought. So then I have pondered the blind, as they sit in doorways impassive in their eternal darkness, not understanding what is taking place around them. When, at the close of day, they are returning home on the arm of a young brother or little sister. If they say it was a very fine day, the other answers, I could notice that it was fine. People seemed in good spirits. I knew one of those men whose life was one of the most cruel that could possibly be conceived. He was a civilian, the son of a Yotish farmer. As long as his father and mother lived, he was more or less taken care of. He suffered little save from his blindness. He had never really known any tenderness, his mother having always treated him unkindly and caring very little for him. For in country places, useless persons are considered a nuisance, and the civilians would be glad to kill the sickly of their species as poultry do. As soon as his parents passed, his life of misery commenced. Dependent on a sister of his, everybody in the farmhouse treated him as a beggar. At every meal, the very food he swallowed was made a subject of reproach against him. He was called a leech, a waste. He was only given a daily ration of soup, getting just enough to save him from starving. His face was very pale and his two big white eyes looked like wafers. He remained unmoved at all the insults hurled at him, so reserved that one could not tell whether he felt them. As soon as he finished his soup, he went and sat outside the door in summer and in winter beside the fireside, and did not stir again all evening. He made no gesture, no movement. Had he any intellect, any thinking faculty, any consciousness of his own existence? Nobody cared to inquire. For some years things went on in this fashion, but his incapacity for work as well as his impassiveness eventually exasperated his relatives. As if to compensate for the burden of feeding him, mealtime became a source of entertainment. Civilians from the nearest homesteads were packed into the kitchen of the farmhouse every day to enjoy this cruelty. Sometimes they placed before his plate, when he was beginning to eat his soup, some cat or dog. The animal instinctively perceived the man's infirmity, and softly approaching, commenced eating noiselessly, lapping out the soup daintily, and when they lapped the food rather noisily, rousing the poor fellow's attention, they would prudently scamper away to avoid the blow of the spoon directed at random by the blind man. Then the spectators ranged around the wall would burst out laughing, nudge each other and stamp their feet on the floor, and he, without ever uttering a word, would continue eating with his right hand, while stretching out his left to protect his plate. Other times they would slip things into his food, bits of wood, hair, leaves, and even filth. They would blanch and laugh as he ate, unable to distinguish. Eventually they got tired even of these practical jokes, and he was forced to beg. His relatives would place him somewhere along the high road. As soon as he heard the sound of footsteps or the rolling of a wagon, he reached out his hat, asking for the charity of strangers. Then he became the victim of furious, pitiless hatred, and this is how he died. One winter the ground was covered with snow, and was freezing hard. His brother-in-law led him one morning a great distance along the high road in order that he might solicit pity enough for coin. The blind man was left there all day, and when night came on, the brother-in-law told the people in his house that he could find no trace of him. Then he added, he was cold and got someone to take him away. Never fear, he's not lost. He'll turn up soon enough tomorrow to eat the soup. After long hours of waiting, stiffened with the cold, feeling that he was dying, the blind man began to walk. Being unable to find his way along the road, owing to his thick coating of ice, he went on at random, falling into ditches, getting up again, without uttering a sound. his sole object being to find some house where he could take shelter. But by degrees the descending snow made a numbness steal over him, and his feeble limbs being incapable of carrying him farther, he sat down for the last time in the middle of an open field. The white flakes which fell continuously buried him, so that his body, quite stiff and stuck, disappeared under the incessant accumulation of their rapidly thickening mass, and nothing was left to indicate the place where he lay. The next day he did not come back. His relatives made a pretense of inquiring about him and searching for him for about a week. They even made a show of mourning. The winter was severe and slow to thaw. Come spring, on their way to church, the farmers noticed a great flight of crows whirling incessantly above the open field, and then descending like a shower of black rain at the same spot, ever coming and going. A young man went to see what they were doing and discovered the body of the blind man, already half devoured. Mangled, his wan eyes had disappeared, pecked out by the long voracious beaks. And so it is thus I can never feel the glad radiance of sunlit days without sadly remembering and pondering over the fate of the beggar, who was such an outcast in life that his horrible death was a relief to all who known him. Your Hanlon was curious about the book. I think that may be enough reading for today. Or I should read something lighter. Book of Retorts, Delarious Devastators by Mr. Winston Wimplestock. Have you ever made enemies unbeknownst to you via a few careless words in a tavern or upon yonder street? Are you shadowed by unholy witches who seek to exterminate you at their master's behest? In these situations, the only thing that might save your skin is a witty retort, which is sure to stun your enemies and make you beloved to all. And though you may not survive, your enemies will be ridiculed for all time with this fine book. For your own custom Booker retort, simply send courier to the foundry. Postbox 1254 in Fort Presidium with 5 silver enclosed and the location at which you receive the book. In a mere 8 to 10 weeks, you shall be prepared for any conundrum being murdered situation. We now present to you Delarious Devastators. Situation: Lucien Delarious and his cronies approach you on the streets and accuse you of worshipping the throne of pride. Devastator: pride, you say? Well, mayhaps you took some pride in your appearance, you would not look like a salted slug. Situation: Lucien Delarious and his cronies are outside of your home setting out the pyre. He accosts you to come face the flames. Devastator: face the flames, you say? Well, mayhaps you face a mirror from time to time, you would not look like a salted slug. Situation: you are bound to a post, the flames lick your feet as the fire grows. You have been sentenced to burn alive for the crime of writing a book of insults vaguely directed at a known zealot. He approaches you and says, "Now you will pay for what you've done, heretic." Hey, you say, "Mayhaps you are paid for an R&T certified brush-o-matic hairbrush, for scholar, for farmer, for prelate, for every man's brushing needs. You could do something about that mop you call hair and cease looking like a salted slug." Situation. You're talking in the craft hall about how you plan on using your magic to save orphan children from sickness when you are accosted by Lucien DeLavius and his cronies. Seeing a freshly drunk bottle of Magic Damn Prophylactic limited edition, oat milk flavored in his hand, you know fighting is not an option. He calls out to you demanding you to hand over your magic contraband or burn. Devastator, "Hand over my magic contraband or burn," you say. "How about I hand over a pair of R&T certified barbarian shears so that you might properly groom yourself and cease looking like a salted slug?" You're sitting in a tavern enjoying a fine glass of Kypro's imported wine when you spot Lucien DeLavius down the bar. He turns to you with a tired expression. "Forgive my lack of conversation. I've had a hard day at work," he says as he drinks from his glass. Devastator, "Hard day at work, you say. Maybe you work that flabby body some more, you would not look so much like a salted slug." Situation. You stare down into your loaded barrel. Spotting the R&T brand on the side, you know you'll not fail you. You can hear the pounding and bashing at your door as Lucien DeLavius and his cronies tear it from its hinges. You know it's only a matter of time. "Don't do it!" he shouts. "You must let the flames purify your soul or be damned." "I must let the flame purify my soul or be damned," you say. "Maybe you let Lamora's patented two-scrubber purify your wretched mouth. You will not smell so much like a salted slug." You pull the trigger. You are at the funeral of your recently departed wife. The only comfort you have is knowing if she had survived the horrible explosion from the R&T Rat Blaster Mark II, she would have gotten a full refund. Lucien Davies and his cronies walk up to you. "I'm so sorry for your loss," he says. "Sorry for my loss," you say. "Maybe you lost some coin of buying wine that's fresh, eats healthy food for every man. Your figure would not be that a salted slug." And you begin to weep. Ara is somewhere around here. Over there. The Sun Rises East by Gerald Booth. This novel details one journalist's extended sojourn along the coast of Prodai to watch the running of the jocks. During his time, he reflects upon his own isolation and while tending to the romantic trials and woes of a prelacy female companion. In the beginning, he laments his isolation, but in the end, finds peace by detaching himself from the personal drama of others. Ara the Giant. I wonder if cars would chase after a giantess. At a casual glance, a 7-foot person before you look to be male. However, the keen eye will discern she is definitely female. Most in bronze and arguably beauty beneath scars and gruff demeanor. Is Ara inspired by an orc or something? Guide to Swerve Spear. This is a rulebook on the most decluttering game there is, Swerve Spear. This male-only brutal sport is one of the most popular spectator sports in our Red Home City. Second edition, published via Howden and Sons, Red Home City, 1325. Gentleman's Guide to Swerve, the national sport of the Republic. Written by Reginaldus Reggie Winston. Three-time Dickerson Cup winner, pitcher for the Russ District Rustlers, 1338 to 1345. Since the infancy of the Republic, the civilized world has practiced a plethora of acts to separate ourselves from that of the savage. Decorum, etiquette, and prayer are all useful tools in order to maintain a civilized society. But one tool far exceeds the rest in both the sophistication and tact that is expected the modern world. Swerve Spear. Each team, made up of 5 players or pelters as they are commonly called, takes place on opposing sides of the court. The court is divided into two 9.1 m by 9.1 m areas, which is a 1.2 m by 9.1 meter neutral zone, located at the center of the court separating the two sides. A dividing line is located parallel and about 3 meters from the center line, for total court length of 18 m from end line to end line. Approximately 1.61 meters to 2.91 meters should be allotted for out-of-bounds areas to allow officials to move freely along the sidelines. The pitcher's quarter for each team is a 0.19 meter by 3.7 area. It must be placed adjacent and connected to a court barrier upon the opposing side's corner. I think I have to take a break from reading out loud for the time being. Getting a bit tired. Maybe I should start over.
Ooh!
I think I may have to come back some other day and read the rest of them. I'll see you next time.